Okay, this is attempt number 2. Hi, I'm Todd, and
I'm Melissa.
Hey, listen, we are, if you're listening, you know we're podcasting, obviously. The name of our podcast is? That's my wife not answering. You can tell this is our first podcast. The name of our podcast is Two Teachers in Texas.
Yes.
And the reason it's called that is why, Melissa?
Because we both teach in Texas.
Not only do we both teach at the same school.
We do. Junior high, as a matter of fact.
We both teach in junior high. We'll talk more about that in a minute. But welcome to our podcast. We're glad that you're listening. And the reason we wanted to do a podcast is I've been listening to podcasts for years. Hey, I think we're going to have to take a break because your phone's ringing. Melissa's phone's ringing. This will happen a lot.
Actually, it's probably Tori.
This will happen a lot during our podcast, so we might as well just continue the podcast. So while Melissa's on the phone, I'm going to tell you why we're thinking about... Oh, here she is. Hello. We'd like to... Yes. Seriously, we'd like to podcast because we both think that teaching is... We both know that teaching is very difficult in this environment, and we teach. We are raising our kids. We'll introduce those to you in just a moment. And we also both work at a church.
It's hard to believe anybody listened to us at all. Oh. That was number 001. That was our very, very first podcast we ever did. You are listening to podcast number 100. Welcome to Two Teachers in Texas.
Welcome, welcome.
Hi, this is Melissa Fries from Two Teachers in Texas.
You're so beautiful. Sometimes you're so beautiful it just gags me. Maybe you're not real, but maybe you're a phantom or something, huh? I keep expecting you to vanish.
And this is Todd from Two Teachers in Texas. Todd Fries.
You've got a real attitude problem, McFly. You're a slacker.
Will you two shut up? People are trying to sleep. God bless Texas with his own hand, brought down angels from the promised land, gave them a place where they could...
Welcome to Two Teachers in Texas, number 100.
Wow, I can't believe we made it.
Get your friends, get your neighbors, get everybody. Hey, guess what? We got a problem with the feed. Here we go with the sound. There you go.
Man.
All right. One more time. There we go. Yes. At least this sounds a lot better than the first one did.
Yeah. Well, we can only hope.
I remember we were sitting in my office at church. I was youth pastoring back then, all those years ago, and we were sitting in my office, and we both were facing our.
Yeah.
We did something you never do when you podcast. You don't podcast right directly into a mic that is a condenser mic, which is what that was, and especially a microphone as cheap as was on that old Toshiba laptop we had. And we now have better stuff. As you can tell, I had to finagle with the
beautiful
I had
stuff.
to finagle with the deal, but we have come a long, long, long way. It's taken us a lot longer to get to 100.
It sure seems like we thought we'd be there.
But if you're a teacher out there, if you're a teacher, you know life gets really busy. And it is really busy, but we are at 100. We are so excited.
Very.
We would love for you to join us for the next 100. They'll be coming a lot quicker.
That is the plan.
than they have been. And if you look back, you can see that every week we've given you a podcast. We've been true to our promise. Some of them have been a little bit later, but we have one a week. If you look at the schedule, so we are so glad you're here. You know, my gosh, I guess we started podcasting in like 4 years ago, maybe even 13, 4 to 4.5 years ago.
I believe so.
And things have really changed in those 4 years. I'm no longer a youth pastor. We no longer go to that church. You know, if you listen to our podcast, that a lot of what we talked about over the years was church. And church has been very important to us. God is important to us. And the church that we go to has been important. So that's been a big change in our life and has continued to be a change. I have a little tickle in my throat. Sorry about that. But it's continued to be a big change. And in the coming months, we're going to go on a little journey, if you will, about church and what all that means. But we thought today it would be great if you heard from the people that kind of sort of have grown up in the last, I don't know, for a few years, the people that have been in our home and those that have been brought into our home. So we did a series of interviews, and we thought this would be a cool way to share, to celebrate and to share what we hold valuable at Two Teachers in Texas. By the way, how do they get a hold of us?
You can reach us. You can go to our website, twoteachersintexas.com. That is TWO, teachersintexas.com. And you can actually send us a little recording, hit a little record button, send us a message. You can email us feedback at twoteachersintexas.com. And then also you can find us on Facebook. We are facebook.com/Two Teachers in Texas, TWO.
Yeah, that's true. And the first 100, we were, to be honest with you, we were just trying to figure out how to do podcasting. And since we've done this, we do have another podcast that we've developed. It's called purposefulmarriage.com. We had promised it to be ready on the 10th. We've had some production difficulties. It's going to be a little bit later, but not too much. There are some other podcasts in the way, or in the loop, or in the idea pipeline that we want to call your attention to, but we've gotten a lot better at this. If you listen to that first podcast, it's a wonder anybody listened to it. But we have gotten better. Although some things that have not changed are, or one thing for sure that's not changed, is the fact that Mrs. Freeze doesn't know the name of the show half the time. And the other thing is that if the mic is on, there's a good chance the phone's ringing.
This is true. That has not changed. Although I do want to say something about the name of our show. Just so you know, I got that how to reach us perfect. Finally, probably the first time ever on our 100th show.
One can only hope that.
Hey, I got to take it when I get it.
By the way, you actually talked on the phone. I mean, we didn't even pause.
That's what I was laughing. I was listening.
to
You could hear me back there going, Tori, you could see me or hear me getting frustrated, like, I will call you back, okay? And I can hear me whispering.
You know, speaking of Tori, she's been on the podcast a couple of times, and if you listen to our podcast, you may have heard her do a promo, and I don't know if I still have her promo up here or not. Oh, look, maybe I do.
Goodbye, and remember, twoteachersintexas.com. You can go to that, and teaches you a lot of stuff. So I just want you to go to that, please.
That was several years ago, but she didn't have any front teeth. So
see, and that was like first. She was in first grade, and she's now in sixth.
That could be right.
So it's been about 5.
Yeah. So
5 years ago.
Yeah. So what we thought we'd do is we would let you hear from those folks that we hold most dear to us, and I guess we should play Tori's first. You think?
Sure.
Do you remember the interview that we did with Tori? This is just a couple of days ago. Remember what we talked about?
Yeah, a little bit. Kind of her. No, you interviewed her.
Let's find out. So I remember the last podcast you did. I think it was 094, 093 or 2, I don't know, something where we talked about your teaching from the student perspective, and we're not going to rehash that. You did a really, really good job.
Thank you.
Lots of nice comments from others. So yeah, well, you're welcome. You deserve it. But so the question that we're asking your siblings and your brother-in-law and sister-in-law is, do you have? I mean, you've listened to the podcast, yes?
Yes.
Is there something that you liked from the podcast? Is there a favorite memory, a favorite great thing your dad said? I mean, what do you got? So that's her mom saying, "How do you feel when you listen?" Because evidently I didn't do it correctly.
That helps her to distinguish what she wants to say, because sometimes they don't.
I'm going to edit this part out. Tori, go.
Okay. I have a favorite memory. My favorite memory was whenever we did the podcast once, and it was like really good, and I knew everything, and you accidentally, I don't know what you did, but somehow it got deleted or it messed up.
Oh yeah. That was
so
just me and you that night. I remember. Mom was working.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but you messed that up. So
excuse me. Your mom came in at night.
Did you
and
hear that?
Secretly,
you
deleted the
messed
podcast.
That up.
But that's one of my favorite memories. Listening to it, how I feel when I listen to it, I feel like I have the coolest parents in the world. The weirdest, coolest.